A new iPhone means new cases. Let's check these out. Dave Taylor here, and I have my new iPhone 11 Pro, and that means I need a new iPhone case. Now, I know there are purists that say this is made out of super tough material and this front is like Gorilla Glass 66, right? Whatever it is, I think it's 5 actually, and you don't need a case. Now, this is a $1,000 phone. I'm pretty sure I want a case on it. Anything that helps me, it's like a little insurance policy, right? So honestly, the vast majority of people do get cases, which means you gotta figure out what case to get. So today I am looking at 2 cases from OtterBox, 2 cases from LifeProof, and a special bonus case from Urban Armor Gear. So we're gonna compare them all, and I'm gonna pick the winner of all of these, and they're not exactly the same style, so there's a little bit of back and forth. We're gonna start with OtterBox. I'm a big OtterBox fan. I review a lot of their stuff, and this is their core, most well-known and just best of all their cases. This is their Symmetry line, and you can see it's slim. It's a dual sort of material, so the inner part is a softer rubber, and it's not very soft, but the outer part is a really tough hard case. So it has nice impact protection. And so there are three criterion I use to consider a case. The first one is, does it have a bezel? And by a bezel, what I mean is that you want it to be above the surface of the screen when the phone is in the case. So when I look at it like this, I should see that there's a little bit of case. Why is that? Because if the phone drops, I want the case to take the impact on its face, not the glass. So that's super important. The second one is a really obvious one. Do the holes cut out in the right place? Is it still a fully functional and accessible phone? And the trickiest of all those buttons turns out to be that mute on-off switch, because it's really close to those 2 volume buttons. And when you put a case on it, some case designers say we're going to have a smaller space just perfectly centered for that button. And others say, we're going to give you a bigger space to make it a little easier for you to access the button, but now it's not centered. So we'll see how OtterBox does with that, as are these other companies. And then the third piece is, does it charge wirelessly? Now, the 11 Pro does do Qi wireless charging, so you definitely don't want a case that stops you being able to do that. And so for that, I have a wireless charger, so let's start right out. And let's see the Symmetry. You probably can't see. Actually, if I lock the screen, then you can see, right? So now you can see it is indeed charging wirelessly. Awesome. So in terms of the cutouts, well, the cutout for the camera is perfect, as you would expect, and the bottom is reasonable. It's asymmetric because of the different number of holes on the different sides of the speakers. That's actually an iPhone design element. That's nothing to do with the case. But where OtterBox makes that fateful decision is that they have a larger hole for that mute switch, and it means that the button is not centered in there. So if that's something that you care about, this is what they do. Now, all their stuff's made out of synthetic rubber and polycarbonate, so it's really nice. It has a lovely hand feel, and it's very slim. You're not adding a whole heck of a lot of thickness or weight to your phone. And I gotta say, they have fantastic color names. I don't know who there at OtterBox is coming up with the color names, but you, sir or ma'am, should be getting a raise. Okay, this is Risk Tiger Red, and my other favorite color names for this Symmetry case are Beguiling Rose Pink, Sapphire Secret Blue, and Aspen Gleam Yellow. Have fun with your color names. Good job, OtterBox. So the Symmetry is slim. It has the 2 colors or 2 materials. It's very attractive. There's no reason you wouldn't want to have one of these on your phone, and it gives you a whole lot of protection, and that's really important. So how much are these? So the OtterBox Symmetry line are $49.95 at OtterBox.com. Now, one of the things that they've done is they also said, you know, people really dig those pop socket things, right? So what if we had a pop socket built in to our phone? Enter the OtterPop. A points for the name, very cute. So this is the Symmetry OtterPop. So it's basically the same case as the Symmetry, but they add support and a built-in pop socket. Now, I am not a convert to pop sockets, but I know a whole lot of people, two of my very best friends, have pop sockets on the back of their phones. So, we're going to find that the interior is a little different because it's shaped, and that's because of getting that pop socket to work. And it's a little thicker because, again, it needs to have the space to have the pop socket on there, but this is a much more reliable mount than if you just glue it on or sort of tape it on with that two-sided tape that comes with pop sockets. And of course, now you get all these great benefits of like being able to hold your phone like this, right? Even better is it turns out that if you don't like this pop socket, you can put a different one in, and that's really critical because tons of companies make pop sockets in different designs, and a lot of organizations have their own pop sockets and stuff. So when I go to trade shows now, there's always some company giving out pop sockets. Being able to use that with my phone, genius. Now, the buttons are exactly the same layout as we would have gotten from the Symmetry because it is basically the Symmetry case. So nothing new and groundbreaking there. The big issue is, does it charge wirelessly? Let's see. And it does, which is great. Now the company says you might have to take the pop socket out to charge it. And I'm just going to guess, this is kind of a silly test, but I'm going to guess that's not going to work. Yeah, so obviously, if you have your darn pop socket extended, put it in before you try to wirelessly charge your phone and get with the program. And it is a little fussy. So there's a little bit, you saw, I had to sort of get it to just the right angle. Taking the pop socket out obviously is going to make it easier, and that's going to be much more of a reliable wireless charge. But then you have this, which, I know my cats would then take and go play with. Not helpful. But really ingenious idea here to be able to take something that people really love and actually build it in and make that part of the phone case itself. And of course, when it's flush, it only barely sticks out at all. So very nice design. And again, OtterBox did a glorious job with their color names. This is Lollipop, and it also comes in Violet Dusk, Mint to Be, Island Umbre, and Marvelous. Marvelous. I'm not sure exactly how they want you to pronounce it, but cute names, guys. This is a little more expensive. So this Symmetry OtterPop with the built-in pop socket support, and it comes, of course, with a matching pop socket, is $59.95 at OtterBox.com. Really like it. I really like when companies watch how people use their product and then innovate their product to match people's needs and interests. That's just smart business. Now, let's look at LifeProof. Now, LifeProof is actually associated with OtterBox, so they're kind of sort of the same company. They didn't used to be, but LifeProof was famous for always having these like monster big heavy duty, these cases that honestly was like putting your phone in a box. So they've come a long way with these sort of designs. And this particular one is the LifeProof Slam. Kind of a bummer they sent me the black one because they also have all these really nice colors on the sides. But I guess this gives us a chance to have something a little more modest and check it out. So let's go ahead and put it in here. And oh, I didn't mention, by the way, on both the Symmetry cases, they have a really nice little amount of bezel, just a little bit, but just enough that you are getting protection. Now, I will say that the LifeProof case, this Slam case, gives me a little bit more. So again, if I actually drop my phone like that, the screen isn't taking the impact. Obviously super important because I really don't want the screen to take the impact. So props to them for that. This does have a bit more of a boxy or square feel. It's not as rounded on the edges, so that might or might not be something that appeals to you. Having the back open lets you see the color of the phone. I have a midnight green phone. Honestly, you could tell me that it's gray and I wouldn't notice the difference. They look amazingly similar, right? So they were maybe a little overly subtle with the green on this, but that's Apple, right? This isn't a LifeProof issue. So LifeProof Slam, they've done 6-foot drop tests, and it also comes in cool colors. But before we get there, let's look at the cutouts. So the cutouts are fine, and here's, see, this is interesting because the cutout for the mute switch is centered. They've done a little bit of a sort of stylistic angle cut there, but it does give you the button centered in the hole at the cost of being slightly narrower. So I can say that I am still quite able to turn on and off the switch easily with a fingernail. So works for me. So we have the bezel, we have the cutouts, right? And the back and everything being clear, very, very attractive. Does it charge wirelessly? You know it's going to, right? So let's see. And it does. Huzzah! So this is the LifeProof Slam, and like I said, comes in a variety of colors too. Not quite as exciting with the color names, but still they're doing okay. This is black. They also have some that have some patterns on the back, which are super attractive. Junk Food, Pop Art, Riot, and Cyber is my favorite. I love the Cyber color scheme. How could you guys not have sent me that one? Jeez. Okay, so let's see if I can get the phone out of the case. Come on, phone, you can do it. Then we have another LifeProof case, and this other one is... I didn't quite catch that. Of course you didn't catch that, Siri. Siri. Okay, so we will put the Slam away. We will pull out the Flip. And the Flip is the only case of this set that actually is sort of a wallet style. And this is actually a really cool one. This is the kind of case I think my kids would really like. So it gives you that same somewhat bulky LifeProof design. And it's a little square. Let's try putting it in this way. And there we go. Okay, the phone is in the case. And you know, it has a very small amount of bezel. I would be perfectly happy if it had like a millimeter more, but it is enough that the case is still taking that impact. And the colors, this is an interesting color scheme. This is Water Lily, so it's a light green and a really dark, almost a black, but it's not quite. I think it's like a really dark blue-green. It's very attractive on the front because it actually ends up matching like my screensaver. But on the back, you get this cherry green. The cutouts actually are bezeled, so that looks really cool. And in terms of all the holes, they all seem to actually have the same fit and finish. This one again has that sort of angled hole cut for the mute switch. That works perfectly well. But where the Flip case and wallet is really cool is it has secret slots for some cards. So I just happen to have a couple of credit cards because I'm really curious whether when you put cards in it, whether it will still close. So I'm putting 2 cards in, which are sort of our stand-ins for maybe your driver's license and a credit card. And you can see there's this whole sort of cutout thing here and this is a very hard polycarbonate plastic, but it still closes. And it's a magnetic closure, so it's not gonna just be like hanging down like that. Super cool. Now, what else is nice is that it's a fairly stiff, even if I take the cards out, the back is stiff. So it gives you this really wonderful feature. Cards are pretty snug in there. It gives you this really wonderful feature that it can work as a stand in either orientation. Let's see if we can get that right. And that's actually a pretty nice little hidden feature of it. But I really like the secret compartment, and I like that it's a magnetic closure. So if you pick your phone up, you don't have to worry about things falling out. I will note that it's already, oh, there we go. Okay, you have to push it in a little bit. I was gonna say it's already not level or parallel with the case, but that's because I just had a little user error there. So cutouts, bezel, and then the third thing is, does it charge? And it does. Huzzah. So nice job. This is actually one of the best little mini wallet cases I've ever seen because it's so subtle. And I think that's really great because like my kids have cards on the back of their phones. And honestly, I've seen them where they like rubber band it or something. Seems very low school, low tech. This is a much more elegant solution. And you just open it up and you have access to whatever you've stashed in the back and you close it and you're good to go. So very nice job. Now, Flip case and wallet also comes in 3 different colors. So this is Water Lily. They also have cement and black. Not the most glamorous names, but I don't know, maybe color names aren't that important other than to me, right? Because you only actually, I guess, buy it once. And kind of as you'd hope with a protective case, it's not so easy to get your phone out. You don't want your phone to accidentally fall out. So I'm not taking any points off for any company that makes it hard for me to get my phone out of the case, as long as I can eventually succeed at that. Which means we've looked at LifeProof, we've looked at OtterBox. The one that's left is Urban Armor Gear. And they have a completely different style and they have a different design sense. So assuming I can open the case, I know it opens. I've used the case before. Here we go. So, their design is a little more in your face. It's a little more, yes, you have a case and it's pretty cool looking. So you can see here, it's a very distinctive design. And I really like it, actually. I think UAG makes really nice cases. So let's go ahead and put the phone in this one. And there we go. It's in, easy enough. And that bezel, well, it's an interesting design because it's two heights. So we have going from like here all the way along the bottom, and then all the way along the top is a portion that's a little higher up. And then on the center part, it's just barely above my screen, but that's all right. Because again, if I drop it, then it's the top and bottom that are going to take the impact. So that's great. This is a really cool design. And then in terms of the buttons, well, let's see. The cutouts look good. That side cutout, this is a beautiful example of what I mean when I say that you can have a nice big hole, but you can't center the button in it there. So that's a choice they've made. I don't dislike it at all. And the design is definitely striking, and particularly in different colors. This is the sort of black and transparent, but they have it in some really nice other colors. I really like cobalt, which is their dark blue. They also have magma and ash, and this one's actually called ice. So UAG, you're trying too. Good job. So all that's left is, does it charge wirelessly? And let's find out. The answer is yes, it does. I guess you can't see that. So let me do it again. Come on. Well, Oh, I see. It was still in the charge loop. There we go. Now you can see that it's charging, okay? No crisis. So I have been skipping some prices. So let's go back and talk about prices, and then I'll tell you which one I think is the winner. But before I do that, let me ask if you can subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate when you subscribe. Cool. And leave me a comment. Tell me what kind of case you have on your shiny new iPhone 11 Pro or 11 or 11 Pro Max or 11 Pro Max Super Turbo. That's the size of your car. Okay, just kidding on that one. For now, who knows what Apple's doing, right? Okay, so now let's roll back. So first off, the UAG Plasma will cost you $39.95 at urbanarmorgear.com, which means it is the least expensive. Sorry, I guess I should hold it this way. It's the least expensive of all the cases I'm looking at. And the LifeProof Flip, the one with the wallet, this one will cost you $59.95 at lifeproof.com. And then the Slam, which is the clear one with the bumper around the side, kind of like what Apple used to make, right? I don't know if they still make those cases. They don't really need to make cases. The third-party ecosystem is super healthy. But the Slam is $39.99. So we got a lot of different choices for case here, and they represent a number of different styles and a number of different use cases. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of wallet cases, but I actually really like what they've done with this LifeProof Flip case. So let's get all these cases out and put all these boxes aside, assuming I can get this one to close. So we have the Symmetry. We have the Symmetry OtterPop with the pop socket built in. Super cool idea. Look at those colors. Glorious, right? And we have the LifeProof Slam, which is really just an edge bumper with some good protection for you. And the LifeProof Flip case, which is similar, but happens to have this secret compartment in the back. And finally, the UAG Plasma. And here's my thought on all of these, is that if I had to pick one just because I'm like a teenager and I want something that's cool and says that I'm an individual, are Okay, maybe not that part, but I think I'd go for the UAG. I really like this design. They've done such a good job, and it's been fun watching them evolve their case design. But overall, the winner of this particular roundup, I've got to say, is this LifeProof flip case. This is a real cool case because I know so many people that want to just have their phone and have just their driver's license and a $20 bill or a credit card, and all of that is now conveniently stashed in the back of your phone, and that magnetic closure will make sure it doesn't fall out unexpectedly. So props to LifeProof for this one. That's my winner, and I will catch you in my next video.